put in anything for the city, they should put up $1 million bond or more. Because they're an escape on the job or dig out or bankrupt, and now we got to hold a bag for the bus up road because now we don't have funding in our city to hold up the end of what these contractors did on that road. It's not beneficiary for the community members that live on that road. So, you guys should look into how, I guess we're getting contractors contracting out because these guys are fly-by-night guys and, a community suffers. But, you just look into that and then let us know. Appreciate it. Okay. I guess we have somebody from our community, Glenn.
I guess just take off from your remarks, Mr. Chair. We got money in the kitty, but the city is bank on its deliverance of the rail. Look at all the money that over $250,000 that we got in the kitty from the excise tax that is going to be used for rail. Look, come on. We got problems we got financial problems in the community. We need services, right? Now you're talking about funding cutoff, right? Did you mention about funding cutoff for sidewalks?
No, availability of funds. Whatever the program.
Come on, don't kill me. The funds are not there earmarked, then it's not available. Yeah. But Mr. Chair, we gotta come to a compromise, okay? And the city is not doing because they got other, goals, priorities on their list. So the community suffers. What do? We just sit back and complain? Come on, let's get together and kind of inform the city and force the city to do things. That's my comment.
Okay. You have a question?
The other comments.
You have a question?
Yeah, I got a question.
You have a question? You can put the question to us then. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
For the last umpteen years, Mr. Chair, and everybody knows about the planning in this area, the planning in the Eva region. To this day, we don't have an Eva development plan. It's 10 years late. It's a community, it's a public document which we set in place so that we can plan throughout the region. And it's not here yet. We've been delayed twice in this year alone because we're 10 years late and the city said we're going to get it out. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Planning on whole period. They don't belong there. Because it's going to impact and cause more problems in the area.
Thank you, Glenn. All right. Okay. Glenn, quick one, Celeste.
Some years ago, when we had this wall problem on Puppy Road, okay, from Tata Post office at that time, I was given, and I should have brought it tonight, but I do have it at home, about all the roads on this older side of Eva Beach that was going to get drainage, sidewalks, and everything, how much it was going to cost, and they said that the money, they allocated the money and it was going to be done. Till today, we don't know what happened to the money, and it was never done. And I'll be glad to go ahead and bring all those things forward. In the meantime, can you double check to see if they're still working on it, because by now it's going to triple the price of what they already had on there. So can you double check to see if they're going to do something about it? Because on this other side, we would like some nice sidewalks and roads and, and everything else. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, one last comment.
Quick, please.
You talk about substandard. That in fronting Eva Beach Elementary, that's a substandard improvement that you guys made. The thing is not even hooked up to any kind of drain. The sidewalk is surface level. I mean, you look down on a Seiko's place. At least you got a
point of order. The speaker should address the chair, not the speaker.
Well, shall I look at you then?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, Mr. Chair, look. All these years we've been asking the city to do things right. Mind you, to this day they do substandard work. We're talking about the elementary, fronting the elementary. A sidewalk about 50 yards, they haven't done it up to code. It's substandard. Where does it drain? When it rains, what? The kids will walk on a sidewalk and it's surface level?
Oh, you're talking about in front of Every Beach Elementary?
Elementary front and level, yeah.
I don't think that is finished yet, though, Glenn.
No, they're done.
No, it can't be done because they still, if I don't know if anybody from Oseco is here, but we can talk to them later, but we'll get to your answer for that. As far as I know,
No, but that's, I mean, that, you know, that's,
the drainage are not tied in, that's why I think, Glenn.
no, they got the drainage right there going out to the ocean, not going all the way to the main drainage to the corner.
Okay.
So this has been the, you know, the following of the city. The city has done this kind of shoddy work, you know, because they said funding is not there. Funding is not there. Oh, the funding has been taken out and you know, given to somebody else. We've been hearing this all this time. But I think you guys got to take the action. I mean, just don't sit there and bump like bumps on a log and say, what do we do? What do we do?
Point of order. I feel like I'm being insulted, board chair. I'm not a bump on a log.
Hey, you think you're a public service
Come on.
advisor?
Thank you, Glenn. Anybody else from the community? If not, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Board of Water Supply. Okay. The Board of Water Supply provided their report. Councilman Talapo, please.
Aloha Chair, Board Members, Tracy Omori from Councilmember Tadapo's office. Circulated our monthly report. The only thing I had to report is that we have a special budget committee meeting on Monday at 9 o'clock a.m. at Honolulu Hale, and they're going to go over all of the CD2 amendments in the operating and the CIP budget. So you might want to pay attention to the amendments for the budget bills. And I'll entertain any more questions.
One from the board?
I just want to pass along something. There are many people in the community that want to remain anonymous at times when they have a situation going on. It's about parking. And it's on a particular street, and I'll write it down on a piece of paper for you. But here's the bottom line, is that if you have somebody violating a no parking zone, and it doesn't say tow away zone, it forces the resident to call HPD,
Correct.
then a citation issued, and most often a tow truck has to come and it just doesn't happen, and so it's a habitual problem. Day in and day out, some people's ingress and egress to their driveways get blocked. But we have a situation, if you could look into, Councilman Opo's office, and that is an inquiry was made where we had the situation. It just couldn't get resolved. HPD can't babysit this one street. Your office followed through, and the response came back that they don't put tow-away signs, tow-away zones in a residential neighborhood. Can you look into seeing if there are exceptions, or if the Councilman Opo does have a mechanism that he can initiate, even if it's a pilot, something that could provide remedy for some of these homeowners there that are at their wits' end. It's been going on for some years and some time. And so this signage issue, when your office says, well, they just won't do it, we don't want to quit. We don't want to give up. We'd like to get those tow-away zone signs, and you know the street.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, since you brought that up, in one of our neighborhood security watch meetings, paper that was provided for the community that brought this up from Officer Pacheco. It has the ordinance for everything in the beach. We have it here, so if anybody wants a copy of this, I can make copies, either mail it to you or hand it off to you or whatever, but it's all here. Exactly what Tom was just talking about on all the violations in the community, for our community on parking. I guess was being an issue, so it was brought up to our security watch meeting, so we had this out. So if anybody wants one of these, just let us know for the end of the meeting, or come see Colby over here, and we can get that to you guys, so you guys can have that information on hand. And when you guys do call HPD, you guys have the right information to give them But sometimes when you tell them parking violation, they'll come out, they see about 30 cars almost look the same way, and they move on, and you guys get no justice. So it kind of tells you what it's called, and then when you call it in, they can respond appropriate to your guys' needs. Something?
In October, I asked all the elected officials to actually compile in writing what they've specifically done for the Eva Beach residents. I'm still waiting for that. I have heard nothing from Todd Apo, as well as our other elected officials, except for Rita Carbonella, who is who has gotten back to me several times with written information. So I would like one more last time before I comment on this, next month or the following month, that I want to see in writing what you've accomplished, not what you've attempted, but what you've actually accomplished for the residents in Eva Beach.
Okay, Glenn.
Mr. Chair, I just want to take off on what Steve had just said. The question to the representative, to the councilman, our councilman, is why is he sitting on $350 million for rail? Well, we got all these problems Steve has asked him. What are you going to do for the community? Instead of riding a train with the mayor, why don't he come down here? Why don't he come down here and tell us what he's going to do? How he's going to get the money to make our roads better? How are we going to get sidewalks in? You know, these are the things that we're concerned about. And these are not any projects. These are projects that the community is concerned about. It's quality of life, lifestyles, Mr. Chair. And for the grace of me, I cannot see why politicians, they're going to raise the gas tax. You know, they're finding ways on how, and probably by next year they're going to raise the property tax, right?
Can you come to it? Just give her a question so that she can...
No, she probably cannot answer the question. I'm just posing the question. Why is he sitting on that money? Why is he sitting on the rail money when it's not going to be built for another breaking ground for another couple of years? Let's have the money and put it into the community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Glenn. Go ahead, Julie.
I just wanted to make a comment. I understand where Glenn's coming from, but I wanted to just make a point and just to remind Glenn that the majority of the people of Hawaii voted for that rail transit. And so, you know, it's, whether you agree with it or not, the people of Hawaii have spoken. Right. The people, whether I agree or not, but I just want to point out that a majority of the people who voted in November voted for the rail, whether we like it or not. But
rail was voted in by 14,000 more voters. That's not an overwhelming success.
But there's a majority in this, in our country. All we need is a majority. A 50 plus one.
Point of order, please, guys.
I just wanted to make that clear. Whether we agree with the rail or not, the majority of the people have voted for the rail.
The majority of the people don't understand what the rail is all about.
All right, thank you, Glenn.
Especially in our area, Eva Beach.
Okay, thank you, Glenn. Anybody else have any direct questions on the minutes list?
I need to agree with Glenn, because Eva Beach is not included in the rail, number one. Okay, another thing too, for Todd's office, now Todd had given me, and he knows what papers I'm talking about, the estimate on how much to put drainage and sidewalks and everything on the old side of Eva Beach. Okay? Okay, so can you follow up with Todd? Because he was supposed to follow up on that. Can you follow up, and next month if you could bring a printout, or maybe you can shoot me an email and I'll come down to the office and pick it up.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, thank you. Okay, before we go to DLNR, I had asked this gentleman, and to be present while we do this award to him and say goodbye to our outgoing board members. But before we do that, I wanted to have before we give say goodbye to our outgoing board and our previous chair, we have something for James Campbell High School savers for the media. So okay, for the James Campbell. This award or the certificate that we got was according to James Campbell High School's second in the nation for the media. And at this time, I want to ask Mr. Remisco if he could please come. And can everybody give him a hand? This is the second in the nation, guys. James Campbell High School.
The certificate reads, Level Beach Neighborhood Board would like to recognize James Campbell High School, Savior Media. In April 2009, only the second year of the national competition, the students of James Campbell High School, Savior Media participated in the on-site competition at the Student Television Network Convention in Orlando, Florida, where they had placed second. On behalf of Kirk Favela and the Level Beach Neighborhood Board, we'd like to congratulate Mr. Oscar Remisco.
All right.
I just want to thank the Neighborhood Board Commission and the EVA Board. We've had a successful year. In fact, you've only heard about the second place in the nation. Just recently on Friday, the Youth Exchange, we won first place for mini documentary, music video, and the Department of Education Superintendent's Office gave us this award for most spirited high school for producing the most videos and involving the most teachers. Also, while we're talking about Olelo, starting July, you will be able to watch the stream version of the Neighborhood Board. So it's 24/7 on demand starting July. Yeah.
At this time, can we have Rich Hargreave come up, please? Rich. And we have other leads for outgoing members for can we have Scott and I'm sorry. Can we have Scott and Gary Bautista please come up? Gary, please come up. In a way, we really know Gary been on this board about 100 years, but you know, he's been representing us for a long time. We just want to show him appreciation for being on the board. And Scott Belford for all the hard work that he's been doing. So I just wanted to say mahalo and good luck on the endeavors to you guys. All right, God bless. Thank you guys. All right, thank you. Give my hand again. Okay, can we have this dinner? Please, it's a privilege to have you guys up here. Thank you guys for coming. Appreciate you guys' response.
Chairman, members of the board, and the community. I'm Wesley Mundy. I'm a field supervisor with the Department of Land and Natural Resources Conservation Enforcement. This angle room.
It's on.
How's that? Better?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. And I'm Wes Lundy. I'm the field supervisor for the Department of Land and Natural Resources, Division of Conservation and Resource Enforcement for the Leeward Coast, basically from Hickam Air Force Base to Canana Point. With me is one of the officers assigned to the district, Guy Humphreys, who's attended neighborhood board meetings in the past. We were asked to come here today because by our administration, there's some questions about a case involving a seal that was abused or harassed along the shoreline. And that's the main reason why we came here tonight. But I can take a few minutes to give you some background on the department and what we're working on in the area right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Since last summer, we've increased the manpower out on this Leeward Coast. Last summer we had 2 officers and myself. We have 7 officers and myself. There's 1 officer was injured in line of duty. He's out for the time being, and we have 1 officer deployed on a military assignment, which leaves us a lot more than we had last summer to work the area. We work for those who don't know who we are, what we do, we're basically Hawaii's game wardens, park rangers, forest rangers, marine patrol officers. We are the law enforcement that you'll see out on the water. We do everything from checking net sizes, fish in and out of season, hunting complaints, all the way to stolen vehicles, fights, thefts, assaults, similar to what HPD does. However, unlike HPD, we've got about 38 officers on the island, 6 of which right now are working in this district. We work very closely with the parks details for District 8 HPD, as well as the weed and seed and crime reduction units. And especially, of course, with summer coming up, we too are ramping up to watch the parks a lot closer to hopefully address problems with drinking and underage problems at the parks, yeah, especially related to graduation parties and things like that.
Any questions from the board? Go ahead, Gary.
Sir. Sir, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Can you tell me what telephone number should we contact for wild feral animals coming within close proximity of residential areas?
Okay, we generally don't deal. I'm not. What exactly with wild fur animals? Are you referring to pigs or pigs?
Yeah.
Pigs. You can call 643 DLNR. That's the general hotline number. But generally, Division of Forestry and Wildlife, they have a group of hunters who have been trained and who are on a permit list, and they usually assist with either trapping or removing those animals.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the board? Celeste?
I am so glad you guys are here. And your guy,
Yes.
I'm Celeste. I'm working closely with you on this case, right?
Oh, I
I
heard
am
about you.
so happy you guys are here. But anyway, I just want to, let you guys know that you guys are really doing a very excellent job. And let the community know that there is this Hawaiian site on Kapolei. I made an appointment to have a walkthrough on this particular site next to parcel 24. And it's going to be on May 30th. Hopefully you can make it, Guy. 9 o'clock. We need to have hard sole shoes because of the kiawe trees and everything. I mean, on this particular site, you're going to see is very awesome. And we as the Hawaiian people want to remain that as a historic site so that way our children, our grandchildren can walk that site. We also want to preserve that particular bird that is on that site as well. And I don't think not too many people know about it.
Is this a heiau or?
It's a property that was already reserved by the federal government, but because it was handed over to the Hawaiian Homelands, we're trying to make sure that nothing will be destroyed. on that particular parcel. And I do have another email which I was going to shoot to you, that there is also other sites that is also in reserve by the federal government as well. So I'm so glad you guys came tonight. Thank you.
Anyone else on the board?
Yes, Board Chair Kirk, I
Good.
recognize.
Good.
Thank you. Officer Monday, thank you for your report and your information. And I would like to say that Kurt and I have witnessed these officers, not these specific ones, but officers from the state enforcing and giving citations at Honolulu Beach Park. So they are out there enforcing the laws.
It's like we tell the criminals, just because you don't see us doesn't mean we're not there.
Okay, I just have a quick question. Can you briefly educate us on the fines and the imprisonment of harming our wildlife, especially on Monk Seal?
Well, the monk seal is protected. Of course, you have several different acts. You have the Marine Mammal Protection Act for one that protects in the Hawaiian monk seals. You have potential federal charges as well as state charges that can stem from that. The state charges are generally misdemeanors, which can go up to $1,000 fine, I believe 30 days in jail. And that's on the state side. We currently are working under what they call a JEA, or a Joint Enforcement Agreement, with National Marine Fisheries Service, or you guys might know them better as NOAA. And that basically gives our officers, once they've accomplished the training, gives them federal authority to enforce things such as the Marine Mammal Protection Act. So we're working on that as well. But generally what would happen on our end is we would do an initial investigation, refer it up to a federal investigator for the federal charges. And I can't give you the exact penalties on the federal charges. However, if you want me to, I could look it up and get back to you.
That is fine. Anyone else on the board? Community? Go ahead, Glenn.
Officer, a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
We have to take an inventory on cycle development as to the endangered species. A couple that I know, through the grapevine, has been kind of neglected by the developer, or kind of encroached into the area. So that area we got to be conscious of, and we got to look into that site. And it's a federal bird preserve area, and it's on the west end of the sacred development.
Are you referring to Barber's Point or the
No,
new area
Seiko.
by Honolulu?
Seiko, this side of the fence. Okay, that's one. We'll talk about it later. The other one is, a couple months ago, a DLNR, the Aquatics Division, they did a preservation on Maui. They did a preservation area on the shoreline in Maui, and because of the depleting of the animals and the vegetation in the water, the limo and the fish. Over here, especially in Eva Beach, we got to come up with that similar kind of idea, because where you guys, from Hickam all the way to, well, it's probably you guys' jurisdiction, all the way to White's Point, the limo has been depleting. So maybe a similar situation like a preserved area could be kind of arranged so that we can kind of work with you guys, work with the community, and educate the community into how we're going to, improve the vegetation and the animals in the ocean. So I think that down the line we can talk about it and address the issues.
Just a reminder, Steve Dollar is our person that's going to be handling that kind of stuff too, Glenn. So we're going to have a committee for that. So we'll be having committee meetings similar to what you're asking for right now
I think there's kind of a structure in place now,
Yeah,
but we got to get the support from the DLNR as well as a community enforcement, education, and community empowerment, so we can, best take care of our ocean and resources.
great, okay, thank you very much. Anybody else from the community? Okay, thank you guys very much. Appreciate you guys coming in a quick manner. Thank you, Celeste.
Just a quick comment on this
Okay.
deal. The status of the situation, as I've been informed at this point, is National Marine Fisheries has been advised of it, and HPD is monitoring also. Of course, we as officers will be patrolling and monitoring the areas as well, and looking into further violations. And I would encourage anybody, if you notice any violations, such as harassment of the seal, there's been kind of some unconfirmed reports that it was throwing rocks or maybe even shooting maybe a pellet gun at him. Please call 643-DLNR. Apologize, I don't have the numbers, last four numbers fresh in my head, but DLNR on your keypad. And even after hours, there is an answering service that will take the information you give and forward it to officers that are on duty. Thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Just one more comment. So what you would do is if you had an action to where you thought something was happening on Monk Seal, you would call 911 right away. You call the police, and then they would come to assist you, and then they would help you also contact the DLNR, and then what way could be made to follow up on it.
That's a way you could do it. Or if you call the 643 DLNR number.
Mm-hmm. So would you respond like a 911 call immediate, like right away, or would?
It's not a 911 call, whereas you.
Okay, so
right, but it is a.
You want to involve the police department too.
Actually,
if
we're
happen.
Hawaii's. We're the people that you would call to do that. Generally, HPD would refer it to us.
Okay.
If you call our number first, what you'll do is you'll basically take a step out of the response time. So if you call us directly, it speeds up the time. The thing to keep in mind is we're going to respond as quickly as we can. Mm-hmm. However, for that whole entire area that I mentioned, at any given time, you may only have 2 officers available. It's not 6 officers per shift, it's 6 officers in total.
Okay, so the procedure is, because we're trained to just call 911 and then we work with the police and they figure out what to do, like they call you folks or whoever, and we know all the patrol officers. So I just want everybody to know what the procedure is.
Right, but if you call that 643 DLNR number, you're going to get a quicker response from basically as my little nephew likes to say, the fish cops. And you're going to get a quicker response from us just because you've taken that one step out of the response link. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move into residents and community concerns.
No, just to tell us.
Yeah, Amo.
Sorry about that. As a change in the field, I'll let you
The board
guys.
was given an opportunity to provide comment by November of '08. We missed the comment period of November. So the city and county came and entertained us, and they said they'll move the extension for this board to comment on the Evan Development Plan to end of January of '09. This board did not make that deadline, so the city and county extended the deadline to middle of March. And this board, under the leadership of the chair, did not put the Evan Development Plan on the agenda, and this board did not provide comment on the Evan Development Plan. Now we're faced with the State Land Use Commission working on a reclassification of approximately 1,600 acres from ag to urban. And I'm looking at a hearing of March 19th and 20th, of which this board did not provide comment. Then I'm looking at another hearing for April 16th and 17th, And again, this board did not provide comment. There is a hearing tomorrow, May 15th. Since we haven't commented at all on the EVA development plan to the city and county, and we haven't rendered anything until last year, requesting the East-West Connector Road be expedited on that D.R. Horton Schuler Hobokeely property, we have an opportunity, board members, to have comment provided tomorrow by 9 a.m. to the State Land Use Commission on this project. This is the time to do that. And again, 9 a.m., May 15th, my request is that this board, maybe 3 to 4 bullet points, and I'd be more than happy to walk it over there. I will be there myself testifying, and I'd be happy to take the board's directive and provide it to the Land Use Commission members so that they can at least be apprised that this community is awake. Thank you.
All right, anybody have any community concerns?
I want to comment on Tom's comment or suggestion.
Okay, the comment that he's made, I mean, notified that we cannot make any such thing because it's not on the agenda, and it was already told by the previous chair to do the individual things, so.
Yeah, all I want to say
go ahead,
was,
sir.
it was my impression that at one of the legislative meetings that we had discussed that, and we had formulated some words and ideas toward that end. Am I wrong?
Chair, may I answer? Yeah, this was December's legislative meeting. I think it was December 1st. And what happened is the committee meeting of which I orchestrated. As a committee level, we don't have the power or authority to.
Yeah, I understand that.
So we advanced it to a meeting, of which didn't happen, and then we advanced it to a special meeting, and the special meeting was terminated by the chair before we could bring resolve. So at 9 p.m., I think on January 23rd, at a special meeting to make the January 30th deadline at 9 p.m. abruptly by the chair in discussion with a community member, the meeting was adjourned. So February came, and
without going through the complete history of the thing,
okay,
if you could put together perhaps, like 3 or 4 bullet points and address us after the meeting as individual citizens, I'd be glad to look it over and sign it if I agree as a citizen outside the board.
Am I to understand that we just entertained 2 issues that weren't on the agenda, and as a board took a position on one, and we're being told that because the issue that Mr. Berg has brought up is not on the agenda, we just move forward? It seems that perhaps...
Okay, and one was information, and one you're asking to take a stand, and that's in violation of the Sunshine Law. Okay, so I was told by hold on, I'm constantly being told this cannot be done, and you guys want to keep bringing this up. It's not a community concern, and right now we're going back and forth, and we did right now, sorry, we're going to move on.
Did we just move as a board to approve a letter?
Right now, we're going to move on to the agenda unless you have something order.
As a point of order. Mr. Chair, let me
unless you have something different.
Yes, no, I'm going to say that you derailed this whole process.
Recess.
I don't understand how we can take a position as a board on one issue.
Where's the other guy? Where's the other guy there, the ex-chair? They derailed this whole process.
On the agenda, so we don't do it.
I mean, this is important to us and the community. Mr. Chair, why do you walk out when this pertaining to you?
This is completely...
No, I can talk without the mic. But you know what?
I will tell you right now, Ben. You didn't come to the other meeting.
What meeting? I've been to every land use commission meeting.
I'm asking you to please.
No, you know why? Because you're derailed it. You were at the meeting.
Good, it's good.
And you represented the neighborhood board.
Let them run out.
I mean, look, ladies and gentlemen, this ever neighborhood board is dysfunctional. Tell you the truth, they're dysfunctional. They cannot even come up with committee meetings. Let alone decide it as a group
how the process going to carry on. Everything that you bring up from tonight, from the state, the Fort Weaver Road improvement. How long did it take us? How long did it take us to get a hearing to come to this point tonight? Where's Warioka?
What are we talking about, Brandon? The whole building?
Yeah, talk about whole beauty, but look, he derailed the thing. He knocked it off. He said it's not. Go on. We get to hear the plan. For the last 2 years, we haven't heard the total plan.
We heard it at 10:15 at night, Glenn. And the meeting was adjourned at 10:30.
Yeah, it's a whole PD guy, and we haven't heard his complete presentation for the last 2 years.
But he is always here. It's later in the agenda when the music is
I understand and I hear what you say. The last time he was cut off. Last month something just happened. You guys never got to do your presentation. And then today, I really thought that you guys was going to be on the agenda. I'm not the chair to put anything on the agenda, so.
People in our community.
You vote for the chair.
Whole feeling will ruin Ever Beach. 12,000
I know,
units.
I know.
12,000 units right below the freeway. They're going to build 1,500, use up 1,500 acres for 12,000 units. They're going to kill us in Ever Beach. They're going to kill us.
One at a time, not all night.
All right. Let's have some civility.
How many times the issue was brought before you thought?
No grandstanding. We
I'm not grandstanding. I'm telling you, you guys are the main issue.
I understand where you're coming from.
Well, why don't you guys do something about it? Why don't you guys do something about it? You guys haven't done anything since the project came on board.
Nobody's going to hear you. All you do is
2 years ago.
Nobody's going to hear you.
I appreciate Glenn's voice as for the 40%.
As long as if he's speaking to people level-headed, people are going to hear him. But if he's grandstanding and creating all these theatrics, nobody's going to hear him. We don't need theatrics and grandstanding. I understand where he's coming from. I have the same concerns he has for this. But him screaming to everyone is not going to get him to get things done. No grandstanding theatrics. We're too grown to be acting like this.
So we're adjourned to the new meeting that's being instructed.
Always we come up with plans. You know what? Unless you guys have the right.
How's it going? The board and the chair adjourned. So the speaker, the chair. Well, once he adjourns, I'm sure we're going to be quiet. But right now, we're in a public forum and we're in a taxpayer funded. By freedom of speech, so when the board chair adjourns, I'm sure it should let him be civil as he always. There's absolutely no reason for him to be removed. The chair can adjourn.
You're absolutely the same.
So you guys just been to these meetings tonight. Let me tell you guys, you guys all got to know the process. When these cities are adjourned, we don't want the streets, you gotta have a right to stop. Correct. So we don't have a problem. We have
There is the issue.
Aquatic Scott. Who's the Aquatic Scott? Alton, yeah, Alton. No, Alton, come down and come
Mr. Mildo. Right now, Celeste.
Okay. I have a special announcement for everybody. This Ho'opili project is getting way out of control right now. What we're going to do and what Nola is going to find out when we can get a meeting, a town meeting, regarding Ho'opili. Because for the fact is that almost 80% of the people that lives in Never Beach do not know the location of Ho'opili. They do not know the how it's going to impact the people of Ever Beach. So I'm gonna try to spearhead this thing with NOLA and with the chair, Kurt Favilla, to get a town meeting ASAP. Okay, if you guys are from Ever Beach, please notify everybody that you know. I believe if I can, I'm gonna spearhead a banner notifying the people as they're coming in or going out of Ever Beach that there will be a town meeting concerning Ho'opili. And Glenn, I mean, I do want your involvement on the banner.
I think what we gotta do, and I don't want to put anybody down. I think at this point, because we haven't heard the total presentation, and the developer has kind of sidestepped us, I think what we got to do, because we're going to have a land use commission tomorrow morning,
Right.
and then next week we're going to have two. So they're gonna be
Next week, was it June?
June the 5th. Well, it's next week, right?
Right,
Well, in a couple of weeks.
in your papa.
Yeah. So they're gonna be 2 more. So I think the board has got to take a stand and look. Send a letter, or somebody go down and make a presentation. And we want to, Ever Beach, coming from Ever Beach Neighborhood Board, that we want to defer it, okay? That we want to delay this project. We want to delay the commissioners from taking a position until the people in Ever Beach, because we be the greatest impact. Ever Beach will be the greatest impact.
Glenn, I'll be glad to go down with you tomorrow. Is that Lil Papa?
But somebody from the board, assign somebody, Mr. Chair, go down to the board and tell the commissioners that you want to put this off for a while until the whole community gets a hearing on this project.
That sounds good.
I have a comment on that.
That sounds good.
I have a comment. I have a problem with that, community member Glenn. I have a problem because if I were a state commission, land use commission member, I would ask the Evan Neighborhood Board, did you submit testimony in April of 07? The answer would be no, we failed. Did you get testimony in time in April of 08? No, we failed. I just rattled off 6 meetings. Did you get a hearing or testimony in for the last 6 meetings? The answer is no. So in the last 2 years, ask yourself, has the chair put whole Peely decision-making, provide testimony, comment on the DEIS, that we've been dealing with for the last 2 years? And that would be my response as a State Land Use Commission member, as why has this chair and the previous chair refused to put whole Peely on the agenda, and now you want to say special meeting? This is backwards.
Well,
and I don't condone it.
Tom, I don't think we have a choice. We all can go down tomorrow individually, but it's nothing coming from the board. I went down there, you went down there, a couple people, 3 people went down there and testified. But they testified, without getting a full earful of the project. They don't know what's in the project. I mean, you guys went down and testified. Have we heard all the details, the intricacies about the plan? We haven't. So it's individual. I think if you go down there tomorrow, you're gonna side. If you're pro-development, you're gonna side with the pro-development guys. So we haven't had a full year of the project. So I think there's something gotta come from the board. What else? We can't decide tonight because you guys haven't heard anything. Something has to come from the board. Are we going to discuss it now? You guys don't know the intricacy of the project.
We can do a letter. We just did one without it being on the agenda. We just did a letter without it being on the agenda. But we were told we can't do it for this.
Let's do a letter for this.
We already had the meeting, couple meetings, the legislative meeting, where we decided on 4 or 5 different items. I think if we submit that.
Okay, Glenn, I agree with you, because there's only a handful of people here that knows the project of Hope Relief. I think it's only 2. I think only 2 would know the. Did you sit on their board?
I went to the thing. I mean, they had a big seminar. And we were told exactly what was going to be.
Okay, so there's only a handful. Now, Glenn, just give us guys time, because I hear what you say, Glenn. I do hear what you say. So I'll go down with you. I understand what you're saying, but
I'm going to testify as a
I'll go down with
person
you.
on my own behalf, not as a board.
No. As a board, I go down and represent the board.
Well, if you're assigned, if you give you the right to go down there in behalf of the board.
Okay. Kurt Favela, would you assign me?
Enough about this. They're going to go down tomorrow.
No, you have to assign me.
Okay, the thing is, I think when I was talking to Nola about what Tom was saying about a letter on the agenda, or whatever he's been talking about. What is your verbiage, Mr. Tom, that you want this board to write on this letter? Because if you're writing on this letter that this whole board is in objection to Ho'opili, then that will not be true. If you do a letter, what Glenn suggested, to ask the board to defer the decision-making of the commission, then I can understand that letter. But what you are saying and what Mr. O'Milder is saying is two different letters. So that's the reason why, if Celeste is supposedly going down there to represent the board, we have this letter to ask the commission to so-called defer their decision into.
You cannot make a decision without coming into being on.
Right, that's another thing. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that Celeste represent the board and to go there officially, and we can vote on this tonight, to ask for more time, to have this thoroughly discussed and thoroughly informed of what's going on. I can't remember if any of you guys went to the seminar. It was just last week or whatever, for Ho'opili, and the developers came and talked to us at length about
that was
what was going on.
About the transit.
Hang on, Glenn. Try not to interrupt me, okay? And what I would suggest at this point is make a motion that Celeste represent the board in requesting more time to discuss this and thoroughly come to some kind of conclusion. And then in the meantime, I would suggest that Tom write up some bullet points for us to look over and get those sent out to us, not emailed, but sent out to us so we can look those over. And maybe next month it could be put on the agenda so that we can discuss it.
Okay, do anybody have any, do you want to make the motion then, Steve?
Yeah, I make a motion that if Celeste can go down there, that I think that's a very generous offer. If she can go down there and represent us as a board and convey the opinion or our opinion that we do not have enough information at this time, and we would like them to defer any kind of vote of moving forward until we have more information, and this would take whatever time that the board thinks it needs.
Second the motion.
Okay, the motion has been second. Any discussion?
Discussion.
Go ahead.
So far, this board took a position and got that in was mailed in February of this year. And that letter said, requisite land use commission, that this board make a request that a requisite be applied to the petitioner, D.R. Horton Schuler Division, that they build the east-west connected road, and that east-west connected road be open as a public thoroughfare prior to any other development. That already passed this board. Number two, then this board had a report from the Department of Education, Board of Education, and this board again asked a letter be sent that we did not want an intersection at Honowai Street with Kunia, whereby a high school would be positioned, which would then thrust a traffic signal at that intersection. With those two positions by the board, what I was really hoping to do tonight was merely get this on the agenda, have the two positions we've already taken, get it in there by 9 a.m. tomorrow at the hearing, and then couple it and augment it with Celeste by saying, and we further request a delay in this process. We have more subject matter to advance. That's the letter for tomorrow, those two subject matters which we've already concurred.
Okay, the clarification is that, hold on. So the clarification is that you want to just submit the letters to list?
Please, Chair.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Hold on, we're still in discussion. Mr. O'Milder, please.
We had,
can I get,
Board Chair,
yes, go
I
on.
could be recognized.
Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to say that I'm not in favor of this motion, and I'm not in favor of a letter.
Okay, 10-4, so noted. Can I get somebody call for the question so we can vote?
Mr. Chair.
Okay,
May I make
I'll give you one fast comment, Glenn, but right now
we have had a meeting. We have had a meeting with the community, and through that meeting we came out with bullet points that was kind of related to the EDP. They have a development plans, and I think we modified that So the letter should have been forwarded to the board for approval, but it was kind of delayed in the interim. And Mr. Chair, I think Tom brought a good idea, but that was a personal idea, and it wasn't approved by the people. He didn't bring it to the community and the board members. So I kind of think that if he's going to talk about a letter, let's bring up the letter that the community approved of when we had. How many people was in that meeting? There was a handful of people here from the board and from the community that kind of decided and discussed it and talked it out, what the parameters or the bullet points would be to send to the EDP. So, I mean,
Call for the question.
there's a connection there. So if you want to send a letter, send that one.
Okay, well, okay, call for the question. Can I have a roll call vote?
Gary Bautista,
Please clarify the question first.
The motion to send Celeste over there to do what Steve said. Or you want to do it all one time, or that's going to be two separate?
Celeste, I will be there tomorrow as well. If you can't make it, you know how to get a hold of me, right?
No, I'll
Okay, but the two letters that we're talking about, can
You're
we,
coming with me.
we're going to take a second, that's going to be a different vote on that. Right now, we're just doing the Celeste thing. Okay, so roll call vote for setting Celeste down to represent the board. Roll call vote, please.
okay, Gary Bautista,
I still, we just did
The motion is that the board is sending Celeste on behalf of, she's going down there on behalf of the board to say the board hasn't come to, well, we've changed membership and all kinds of things, but we need more time. The community has not had enough time, nor the board, to decide this question logically and to take in all the considerations of the project. We would like more time, and Tom will go in his capacity as just a citizen or whatever he wants to do. But Celeste will be representing the board asking for more time.
Chair, quickly, before we advance this motion, do we first, for clarity purposes, have to put this on the agenda, take a position? Once on the agenda, we can advance further actions. Right now, we're taking an action of which has not been placed on the agenda.
oh, okay, sorry.
We can do that. That's fine, but yours is already voted on.
So I brought up earlier on in the meeting when you're bringing the monk seals on, I said, let's put whole Peely on the agenda, right?
Right, okay, so then now we have, Tom's two letters is already on the agenda. So now can we have a vote of aye if we can put Celeste going to the commission to testify on the behalf of the board. Can I have all in favor, aye, and then
Aye.
opposed? Okay,
And it's nothing personal with
Okay.
the board member Celeste, I'm sure it'll be okay, but I just don't agree with what's taking place right now.
yeah, so it looks like the ayes got it, so it passed. Okay, so now can we have the roll call vote, please?
Julie? Celeste? Anna? Kobe?
No.
Celeste?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Jeffrey Bella?
Yes.
Tom Burke?
Yes.
Scott Belford?
Aye, yes.
And Gary Bautista?
Yes.
9-2-1-0 passes.
Okay, can I have the board to make a motion for the two letters? Go ahead, Tom.
Two letters. I'm looking at making a motion for one letter, and that one letter says the following. It
Okay,
says
go ahead.
that Celeste will have in her back pocket a letter from this board that says, reiterates, the Evan Neighborhood Board has taken a position that applicable to the applicant to petition for the reclassification from ag to urban, that the east-west connector road be built first. Very simple. Second one, there shall be no intersection at Hanawai Street and Kumia Road that would prompt a traffic signal.
Mr. Chair, I think that's contrary to what we're asking the commission. We're asking the commission, let the community get a full range of ideas or presentation, but he's coming in with individual nitpicking that project and saying it shall not and will not, and
these are already board positions.
No. But let's get with the major issue. The major issue that we want the community to get involved. Period.
And the letter continues with, and please, continuance of the subject matter. Do not come to a decision. Please continue this action.
Because I think his issue is up for discussion in my sight.
Okay, do I have a second?
Just for clarification, well, including the east-west connector road and that other, what is it called? Intersection. Will that defer this even more? I mean, will it help with the deference of the...
We're asking this road be built first, and we're asking no traffic signal here. Fort Weaver, ingress, egress. No traffic signal, build this road first. That's two subject matters.
Yeah, I understand exactly what he's saying. He's saying that what he's saying is that we already voted on this matter, but I understand what he's saying. Why we're going to ask the commission to have a public comment meeting if we're going to be nitpicking little things here?
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, exactly. I understand what you're saying. But
see, if you nitpick and say, well, let's have this in there. I mean, it gives a developer a foot in because they have a road.
Mr. Chair?
Hold on, go ahead. You finished then? Go ahead, Scott.
I just would like it if we don't summarize two different actions of the board as nitpicks. I mean, there are actions, we discussed them, we took positions. I mean, let's not characterize them tonight as nitpicks. They're just things that we have asked to reiterate, that's all.
Okay, so you second the motion, Scott?
Yes, sir, thank you. I second.
Okay. So right now in discussion, if no discussion, can we call for a question? Okay, can we have a roll call vote?
Gary Bautista. Scott Belford.
Aye.
Tom Burke.
Aye.
Chair Favela.
Aye.
Richard Sinani.
Yes.
Steve Nauer.
Aye.
Celeste LaCuesta.
No.
I don't like the nitpicking though.
Colby. Kona. Tuli.
I will vote aye.
1, 2, 7 ayes, 2 nays, 1 abstention. Motion passed.
Okay, moving on to the agenda. Approval of minutes. Yes, go ahead, sorry, Steve, I'll stand corrected.
Yeah, I was very, very privileged last night to attend the 20th Annual Capital A Outstanding Achievements Awards. Let me read to you what they're doing. Each year it is our privilege to, Capital A, each year it is Capital A's privilege to honor the many individuals whose contribution in the areas of community service, education, environment, and leadership have helped define Capital A and its surrounding areas as a vibrant, growing area nurtured by this growth. Sorry. At any rate, Kurt won. He was recognized in the individual efforts and service towards his community. And I just want to say I think it's a privilege and an honor to serve with Kurt. I know of no person in our area.
You folks been living through this project for years. The roadway from northbound Arizona Road to Lauanui, the 3 lanes have been open. Southbound Lauanui Street to Kolaka Drive, their paving is complete and 3 lanes are open north of Old Fort Weaver Road. They got a whole bunch of other portions of the project that I can talk about later, but the traffic signals at Ava Drive and Fort Weaver Road are in. I wanted to go over the anticipated intersection opening. Okay. Old Fort Weaver Road opened April 3rd. Renton Road is scheduled for May 31st. Kolawaka Drive, August 18th, and Geiger Road, August 21st. Those are the scheduled openings for the project. Hawaiian dredging, I was here back in, I think, I'm new at the department. I came over in about August. I came from the Big Island. One of the first things we did as far in relation to this project was a public service announcement that announced the opening of Old Fort Weaver Road intersection in, I think it was January. That was the promise. And Renton Road was in March, I think. And the contractor wasn't moving as fast as we had hoped, and we had to delay that to the intersection openings I just talked about. And I wanted to apologize for that false advertising or that our ability not to deliver. But since that time, we pushed the contractor to add more crews, which he has. And I think you folks have seen the results of that. It's both good and bad. More crews and there's more construction going on and more conflict sometimes as the project moves along. But they have opened up a lot of completed a greater portion of the project, so it's moving along faster. Anyway, we're going to try and complete the entire project by August 21st of this year. They're moving a lot faster than 2 months ago. We have modified the placement of our special duty officers at the intersections to help out during traffic control during the peak. And we'll do that again in May when Renton Road opens. We have a dedicated website for folks that want to get more information on the project, www.hawaii.gov/DOT/Fort Weaver, all one word. We also have a hotline, and that hotline number is 450-1555. I'm going to update the folks on North-South Road, or you want me to take questions for Fort Weaver, Mr. Chair?
Just give up,
okay.
You know the question, but just give the North-South Road, and we can come back to it.
Okay. North-South Road, the total project is $143 million. 4-lane highway connection from the H1 to Kapolei Parkway. Phase 1A is already POW. Phase 1B, which is the section from Farrington Highway to Kapolei Parkway, is scheduled for early 2010 to open, that 4-lane section. There's probably going to be more construction work going on associated with that section, but as far as the usable 4 lanes, we're going to try to open up in January. Okay, so that's the goal. But there'll still be construction going on until the summertime for that middle section. They're still paving the concrete roadway, installing conduits for highway lighting, the drainage channel excavation is ongoing, and the Farrington Highway eastbound lanes are being paved. Westbound lanes to be paved by end of May. So that's the 1B. That's the Farrington to Kapolei Parkway. 1C is the intersection at the interchange at H1, all the way to Farrington Highway. That project is actually going pretty well. We anticipate being finished in about the fall of this year. And they got installation of traffic signal street lights, still constructing the concrete pavements degrading the ramps, north-south road ramps. But anyway, they anticipate completing the project in September 2009. One of the reasons we wanted to come tonight was to see how the board felt about opening that interchange early. Right now, the commitment that was made to the community was that we would, the whole road had to be completed from the H1 all the way to Kapolei Parkway. But because this intersection the interchange at H1 and to Farrington is going to power earlier than the January completion or opening of the Phase 1B, we wanted to get your folks' feedback on whether you folks would be supportive of opening the interchange at H1 early.
Hello?
So that's the report. And I can entertain questions now.
Thank you for that. Well done on the crosswalk in front of Child and Family Service. You mitigated that guardrail situation. Appreciate that. But there was a second item then DOT Director Haraga had worked out with his community, and that was Westlock Village. The sidewalk to get to the bus stop at Fort Weaver and Renton Road on Westlock Village side ends prematurely, like a 60 feet or so. It's just, the DOT says, well, it's city jurisdiction, but the state was going to build it anyway because the city didn't ever plan to finish the sidewalk to Fort Weaver Road. So there's a little stretch there, right in front of where the bus stop is, leading into, on the Malka side of Renton Road, a missing sidewalk.
Okay, Mr. Bird. I still trying to get familiar with all the roads in Honolulu, but where's this intersection that on the north, Malka side of Renton?
Malka side of Renton, Diamond Head side of Fort Weaver.
Malka, Renton.
Wherever you find Harry Morpheus, the
Diamond Head side of Fort Weaver. Okay.
So that was another wish list that DOT Director Haraga promised this community, just hoping that since we've had a change of directors, just a friendly reminder when you're in the area. There's a community member here who's been working hard on the cemetery to help keep that. It made the West Wahoo People the other week. And that is because of the configuration of Fort Weaver Road, that third lane, access to the cemetery is going to change. And since you guys got all the crew there and the equipment there and the expertise available, it was hoping that maybe with the crews that are on the job, if any of them have a double wide gate, or predominantly what we're looking at, I believe, is a paved ingress and egress of the driveway, and make it official into that cemetery so that people, because right now there's just wayward parking in front of there and there needs to be some control. But I'd like to defer to a community member on that cemetery issue. But real quickly, just to let you know, I think also, board, we should advance opening up that segment of 1C as soon as possible.
The street and the place, you know where the graveyard is? Where the graveyard is?
I understand that. You need anything right now for that? No? Okay. Very good.
Where the graveyard is.
Okay.
There was a driveway that the maintenance guys used to enter and exit to maintain the graveyard.
Okay.
There's a wall right there. So they took away the driveway going into the graveyard. So off of Karayan Street, right next to Zippy's, that side street there, since the city, the graveyard has been dedicated to the city. It's a city responsibility. But I contacted the state and they said, no, well, we can't do anything about it. Maybe in good faith, maybe you guys can do something about it. In good faith.
Okay, so this is separate from the driveway access to the segment.
What we're trying to do is put a driveway in there so we can have a double gate.
Okay.
So the trucks can go in there, the maintenance people, and maintain and exit and shut and lock the gates.
Okay, but you just want the driveway. You guys can put up the gate, or cemetery puts up.
Don't worry about the chain link fence, but we need the sidewalk because it's unimproved right there. And I noticed today they have completed on the Mackay side of the intersection or that corner. They completed it, but in reference to the graveyard, they haven't done anything there, so it's unimproved.
Okay, let me check it out.
So what we suggest is put a driveway right across The existing driveway coming out of Zippy's.
But you said there's a wall there.
No, the previous entrance and exit.
Okay.
You guys put a wall there.
Directly across driveway for Zippy's.
Yeah, we want a corresponding driveway right across the street.
Okay. Zippy's.
Okay, before we move on, anybody else on the board?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was you, Gary, yeah, go ahead, Gary.
On Fort Weaver Road, now they have, they're doing what are they doing? Re-landscaping, spend millions of dollars again to put plants and then take it out again, and why can't they just leave it like that? I'm sure that they're going to have to put trees over there for, just in case, people, yeah. But what are they doing? I didn't know what they're doing now. They took out all the trees, took out all the grass. They're probably going to put sprinklers over there and spend money and,
Okay.
I don't know. Can
Okay, fine.
Thank you.
Adam. Oh, go ahead, Scott.
Thanks for this presentation. Two comments you made really caught my ear. You said in February it was called to the state's attention that the contractor wasn't moving quite as fast as possible, and they made some improvements. Thanks for catching that. And I thought they even heard me. Were they penalized for this, though?
We withheld payment for them for several months.
Thank you. And then you mentioned a modification of the way...
and excuse me, but we're still looking into the liquidated damages because there's certain provisions in the contract. And I'm not familiar with all the specifics, but that issue is not closed yet.
Thank you for that. Thank you. And you mentioned something about the police officers and maybe making some adjustments with them. What was that about?
I forget which, there were like two intersections. I think one was Ava, the new one, and then I think at Renton. And in the morning, I think in the morning and in the afternoon, the peak traffic wasn't always as predictable as I think the timing was originally set for. So a lot of the side traffic was getting backed up, or some of the side traffic was cheating, cutting in front of the regular flow. So basically what we did is we had the contractor deploy some special duty police officers so that when there were openings for more efficient flow with the signals, the officer would let them through. And I think that their presence there also helped prevent cheating.
That's been noticeable. And so hopefully you folks will continue to emphasize with the contractor that the role those officers play, especially after rush hour, is critical. Because there's some mornings when you've had traffic backed up to the hospital at 11 or 11:30 in the morning. And those are realtors driving potential buyers to those foreclosed homes and everything else. So that initiative is much appreciated, and more is better.
Yeah, actually, we are learning quite a lot about how we do construction in a major road like this, real community, especially those that have only one way in and out. So we actually have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow. It may be rescheduled because there might be a conflict, but basically it's about lessons learned. We're not going to wait till the end of the project to have lessons learned about what we learned at Fort Weaver, especially since we got a major project under design right now.
Well, then for what it's worth, a lot of times humans will slow down when they see the officer there, to the extent that the officers just did a lot of action like this. It might encourage people. It's an amazing study of what happens at that moment in front of Zippy's, where people will slow down for no good reason and some don't. Thank you.
Okay, a couple weeks ago, there was a problem in front of Kamarina Kids. The traffic light there.
Okay.
It was on a Saturday. Construction, those guys are working there. Every time that guy was to roll over, the light would just change every 30 seconds. It took them apparently the police department called, I guess, DOT to have someone to go there to kind of alter that light. But is there any way that whenever the construction workers goes around that traffic light area, that someone from the DOT department monitor that light? Because of the heavy traffic we have in Eva Beach, I feel that someone should be there. There was no police officers, there was no one from DOT. The police department called DOT to have someone to go out there, or I'm not sure who it was, to alter the light.
Okay.
Another thing too, on the original, okay,
I'm going to lose track and then.
like a type of for you.
Construction equipment. Okay.
Okay, another thing too, on the original plan for Fort Weaver Road, when Scott was here, they said they were going to build a bridge over, like in front of Kamina Kids, so they could eliminate the traffic light there. Is that still in plan? Because the way I look at it, they're not even setting anything for a bridge there.
Okay.
And wasn't it supposed to be in the plan that they were going to put chain link fence underneath?
No.
No. Okay, so is the traffic light is going to be a permanent traffic light there instead of a temporary one that we have right now?
At Old Fort Weaver?
On Fort Weaver. In front of, yeah.
There's a bus stop across the street.
That should have been down for Rented Road.
You know when you're coming up the hill, when you
Yeah.
come into Temple Beach right there, that traffic light right there.
The crossing lane.
It's a mid-block pedestrian crosswalk signal?
Yes.
And it's temporary?
Right at the bridge.
Let me find out. Mid-block. At Kamina Kids, right?
Oh, Child Family Services.
Oh.
Whichever you want to call it.
Okay. Mid-block pedestrian signal. You just want to know if it's permanent or not?
Yeah.
It is permanent. It is permanent.
Okay, it is permanent. Okay, another thing I got to ask you.
Guess I should brought some more paper. I just joked. Sorry.
I'm sorry, but I've been calling DOT and I've been emailing them, and I don't want to drop any names right now. But
Thank you.
when the DOT donates property, do they donate their property to a profitable or a non-profit organization? Property means barriers, concrete, hundreds of them.
Okay.
You know the barriers they have on the freeway when they go do the interchange over there? The cement barriers?
Oh, the Jersey barriers?
Yeah, that's what she's talking about. That is,
So-
it ends up in
It ends up on Hawaiian Homelands Parcel 24 with reflectors, brand new reflectors on it.
So
An LLC property business? No one in DOT can answer my question. No one according to Hawaiian Homelands, it was donated, according to Linda Chin, and I will mention her name, they have paperwork on it. When DOT checked out on it, they never had any paperwork on it, so I need to know.
Okay.
Because those barriers are people's tax money. Those barriers can be reused for parks, schools.
Okay, and the original use was where? The original use, I mean, we're using
it was on the freeway. Definitely.
Now, I'll check it out. I'm not too sure if it was a temporary construction.
How long will
type of
this
barriers.
take? Because it took us months and we still didn't get any.
Oh, okay. Well, you're probably a little more efficient than me, so give me some time. I'll get an answer. But the original use was as part of a construction project on the freeway.
Correct.
Yes, it was. On both sides.
Yeah. And another thing, if you were to donate those barriers, would you leave the brand new reflectors, light reflectors on it? I don't think so. Again, that's people's taxpayers' money.
I'm not too sure, but I can find out.
I guess what she's trying to say is that these was very good condition. They could have reused it for some more, maybe some more steep projects, or even sell it as used. That's what she's trying to say. Instead of donating it to a profitable company. Anyone else? Scott, you have one more? Okay.
It's a safe assumption that traffic light timing will be looked at the conclusion of Fort Weaver widening?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, especially at Renton. Okay, go ahead, Steve.
You know, and basically that's a good question, and it's probably won't. They're gonna tinker with it, not just once. You know what I mean? Basically, what happens on any new project, people try to find the easiest way. So once the whole thing is open, like I said, they try to find the easier way. They'll experiment going this way, going that way, and then after a while, though, it'll settle down. So it's going to they're going to let it run. They'll probably optimize it once, right at the end. Then we're going to ask the city, because the city actually does the timing adjustments for us. We ask them to do it in probably about a month or so, just so that we can further optimize it as people get used to the traffic patterns.
When will the city and the county and the state have where they can monitor all the traffic light and control the traffic light? They said that they was going to do that.
Yeah,
it's supposed to come up in 2 years or something like that.
Actually, we're going in phases. I don't know exactly the schedule for Fort Weaver Road or the other roadways in this area, but it's a phase thing, and it's probably, I think the last time I looked, it was like about 5-6 phases over 5-6 years, and we'll implement it slowly, and then hook it back into the traffic management center of the city. So there are going to be cameras.
Okay, Steve?
Yeah, I would like to ask you, well, first I'd like to preface this with a realistic statement. This has been of the highest priority in this community for, I guess, 20 years. I've only been here like 5 or 6. But I have noticed in the 5 or 6 years before they started Fort Weaver Road that traffic got worse and worse and worse. It is my contention and my belief and my experience that we're going to have worse traffic when Fort Weaver is completed than we even have now. And that our drive time to and from work, if we work in the city, will increase every single year. What I would like you to do is answer honestly, not any kind of, this and that and the other thing which you guys often say, and I'm not saying you. But I'd like to have somebody just come and tell us the truth about the traffic. If we only have 2 ways of getting in and out of EVA, with the proposal of 30,000 homes going in the next 10 to 15 years, with all those cars attached to each home, I want somebody to come and tell us what's going to happen, honestly. Okay.
All right. I got one minute.
After this commercial break.
So we can ask one of our traffic engineers to come make a presentation. Well, they do all the number things, and sometimes they dazzle you with.
It's a quick update.
Okay,
Okay.
No, you're going to get to it. Wait, I just didn't, we did get a film. Are you ready? Okay. Okay. My question is the time that the contractor was permitted to get on and off the road during the construction Monday through Friday. And did they put in, and when did they put in, and when it was approved on their weekend working hours for our community? Because we never was told of weekend work. We already have enough Monday through Friday, and then on Saturdays and whatnot, we gotta deal with delays. So if you can check on that, when this all got approved and why wasn't it presented to at least the community or the neighborhood board? And then my other question was the north-south road. I just was surprised that they are having nighttime working activities there. And why was the community wasn't notified when this was approved for the nighttime working out there on north-south road? And on top of that, the contractor has been having a lot of incidents in the sense of workers being hurt. When they first started their first nighttime activity, one of the laborers or masons was stuck between the cement laying machine and the cement truck and broke his leg. And apparently the contractor is letting their employees know that because the times are hard, and if there is any more reports or anything that comes out like this, that they're going to be losing their job. So it was really hard for me to find this out just recently, and I heard this is going on for a while. Then now the crusher that they have out there, the belt of the crusher went through the cab of a labor truck. 2 laborers sitting inside almost lost their head. No report, no urine test, no follow-up, no nothing. Told them to be quiet, and that was it. And I just want to know, is that going to be an ongoing practice of this contractor? Because I know for a fact that's the same kind of incidents that was going on at Red Hill at MR when the contractor up there, one of the employees on a big machine ran over a toilet, and they swept it under the rug and didn't say anything. But I just want to let you guys know, in construction, yes, we know the dangers of it, but we like to let you know we want our family and our friends to be safe, especially working in this community. I don't want to find out that my friend almost lost his head and then he was told not to say anything because he's going to lose his job. That should never ever happen, especially on the state, well, let's put it this way, in America, period. So can you look into that for me?
Do you know which contractor it was? Goodfellow or Hewitt?
Goodfellow.
Both incidents.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, Glenn.
Okay, thank you. Just before you guys took over the project, we had put in new landscaping on the medial strip, all the way from St. Francis, all the way down into Ever Beach. I mean, that was newly. We spent taxpayers' money on that. And at the first meeting we had 2 years ago, the suggestion came from the community that you guys encroach in that. You guys encroach into that, so you lessen the amount of medial strip you have. Instead of, now that you got, you dug up all the plants, now you're gonna, spend taxpayers' money again. So you guys haven't heeded that first suggestion that you encroach into the medial strip as a cost-saving factor, so that you guys don't, now that you guys are going to spend twice as much money because you guys knocked it down. Now you guys are going to build everything up again.
So the landscaping was where? From St. Francis to Ever Beach? Was it on the median or was it on the side?
It was in a medial strip.
Okay.
I mean, we put in brand new water sprinklers, trees, maintenance. We paid for maintenance twice because the first maintenance contractor kind of reneged. He didn't follow through with the contract, so we had another one, and they upgraded the plants again. Now we're going into a new phase of spending money. So, I mean, the state hasn't heeded that. The other thing too, just to follow up, has the contractor come up to date yet? Are they on schedule?
No.
They're not? No. I think the point was brought up that you guys work Saturday and Sunday, 24/7 like, and you guys work all time of the hours on a weekday. I mean, I had comments from people. Is it the contractor's profit or the community's sanity? I mean, you go there at 6:30 in the morning, try to get out of Ever Beach, and we're stuck in traffic.
Okay.
All week, we get that. that. Saturday and Sunday we get that too.
Thank you, Glenn.
So, could you kind of look into that?
All right, Celeste, quick one.
Trying to scale down over the weeknights and the weekends.
Okay, wait. No, this is an important comment.
Okay.
You want us to not work on weekend?
Absolutely.
So that the project is going to take longer to finish?
Work out weekends.
No, we're not saying don't work on weekends.
Just
notify.
Okay, and then be considerate of the time on the weekends.
That's all.
Okay.
No, we're not against, we let them done tomorrow if you can.
Yes,
Yeah.
we do too.
Hey, let's do this one more. Read the rest.
Public safety again. Those, what do you call those trucks? No, those dump trucks.
The dump trucks?
Yeah.
The end dumps or the big long ones with a tractor trailer?
Semi or whatever you guys call it. Okay. Those guys, we were coming across and there is complaint that they're making a U-turn while talking on the telephone and they can't complete their turn. Because why? Their hands are full with the cell phone in their hand.
Which intersections? Or the whole job?
All over, yeah.
Okay.
And it's done by mostly one company.
Okay, what company?
I don't want to say it on here, but
No, but is it dredging the prime or is it a
subcontractor?
Okay.
Pine Ridge.
What is it? Pine Ridge?
You know, I mean, just a heads up, just to let them know, you know, no cell phones because there's people driving, and when they kind of make the turn and got to climb the other side of the road on the curb, that's a negligence right there. They could have hit somebody.
Take it seriously.
Right, take it seriously.
Okay, thank you. Well, those are important comments. We can take care of that.
We've done that already.
Board Chair Kirkpavel, if I could just make a comment.
Okay, go ahead.
My comment is that this is a big job. We're all going to suffer. We all got to suck it in and make it through this thing. We don't want to delay the job. We want to get it done. It's not going to be done perfect. Seems to me like a lot of professional people are in charge. Let's just get with the program and try and help out as much as we can and not confuse people and get this thing finished.
Thank you.
Just what we're trying to say is have the dialogue, because as other companies that was doing the beginning part of that South Road, and they had give us good information and ongoing stuff like that. So that's all it is. We're not against them trying to make money. That's they were making money, but just to protect our residents in Ever Beach too. Okay. And with all that, we just want to thank you for coming. And sorry,
There's the indicator of your support for early opening.
Okay, can we make a motion? Go ahead, Tom.
I make a motion that this board supports the opening of 1C upon its completion from the interchange at the H1 to Farrington Highway upon its completion and availability.
I would like to second the motion that was brought up by Mr. Tom Burke.
Okay, I guess discussion, no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Okay.
Mr. Chair,
yes, sir.
Like a short note or maybe the meeting minutes, maybe, I guess.
Okay, can he ask?
Oh, sure, I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. No problem. Gerald, thanks for coming. I think it's very good that you're able to dialogue with the board and get everything going in that direction. The question that I have that kind of comes to mind, obviously, we all know that we only have one, possibly two exits in and out of, or two areas that we can go in and out of Ever Beach. One of the primary areas is going to be this Kapolei Parkway, going through Kapolei, obviously, to get out to the freeway, another avenue. When is that going to be completed and open for continual use? I know it's nearing completion. It is open up on, or in fact completed on the Kapolei end. I think we're still stuck in Ever Beach here in reference to the end of Gentry's project. Going across Rented Road, so just get a projection on when we can start utilizing that. It looks like it's coming close to completion.
Okay, I can find out. Okay. Is there something else?
All right, sorry.
Mr. Chair, I wanted to make an announcement that on June 3rd at 6 p.m. we're going to have a Waipahu, Kunia, Eva, Kapolei town meeting. where we're going to talk about that early opening of that north-south road intersection. And then the other projects in the area too. You know, there's a couple A interchange, phase 1, that we just bid out, going to start this summer. North-south road intersection. There's a possibility of that third lane over Farrington, the third lane on Fort Weaver Road over Farrington. We're doing like a detailed traffic study right now. Hopefully it'll be done soon. But hopefully by the time of the meeting we'll have the results. So there's a possibility of a third lane. Basically we wanted to bring the area residents together, because when we do all of them, there's going to be some folks that are going to benefit, some folks are going to get shortchanged, and they're going to feel a little, some guys might get upset, but we wanted to at least inform the whole community in the area what's happening and have a discussion about it. So June 3rd, 6 p.m. The location is, we're thinking about this West Lock Golf Course. I guess they have a meeting room or anyway, we haven't confirmed the site yet, but we'll let each different neighborhood board know the location as soon as we lock onto it.
Okay, one quick, Steve.
Yeah, could you, on that analysis, that traffic analysis, the honest scoop, can you do Northwest Road on that too, please?
The
North-South Road, sorry.
Presentation for
It's not going to go anywhere, no matter what.
Okay, I'll put honest.
Yeah, because I've seen those circle roads like all my life, and as soon as you start plugging in signals, it doesn't work. And when you have like a university on one side,
This is technically an executive your report.
Okay, go ahead.
I attended the special commission, neighborhood commission meeting on May 4th. And basically, they made a presentation by a company, and it was electronic voting. Although it did not apply to the Eva area because everybody already automatically was voted in. It was, they wanted everybody to vote, go paperless, and they wanted, well, it came about also because the people who are overseas cannot vote. Their vote didn't come in on time. So they sent a paper for those communities, other communities other than ours. They sent a paper to everybody, and those who received it received a nine-digit code. And this would really, like everything is encrypted, and you cannot play games with it. So if you wanted to vote, you can go vote online, or they will have several other places like Honolulu, Halicorn, Courtyard, the Kapolei Courtyard, the Windward City. For those communities, they could go there and vote for the Eva board. We had 11 seats and only 8 or 9 ran for the seat, and they were automatically in. So you guys didn't get this. But in the following next 2 years, if we still have 11 seats and there's 13 contestants, then you guys are going to have this, and you guys are going to be voting online.
Oh yeah, and just told you can also vote by phone.
Oh yeah, then you can vote by phone.
So in saying, what are you saying? You think this is a good idea to try it or not?
Well, I would think so. If next year there's more than 13 people, or more than 11 contestants for the seats, I think we should, because it was brought up that what about us guys, the old people and the guys who don't know how to use a computer? Well, if you go to these 3 places, they'll ask you if you want to vote by the computer with a 9-word password. If they cannot, they said they can vote by phone, or for those who are blind, that is, are working on it so they don't have braille, and those who are
Hearing impaired.
disabled, they will have people helping them.
Okay, thank you. You have anything, Kobe?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Okay. It's official. I am now the chair of the AMPO committee, chair of the subcommittee. I've received the next meeting agenda, and I am on the members present list because I was present. I did attend a technical advisory committee meeting on April the 15th, and I also attended the citizen advisory committee on the 15th. And I do not have a written report, but I do have the next previous meeting to attend, and at the next neighborhood board meeting, I'll have somewhat of a report written.
Okay, Senator Spiro?
Mr. Chair?
Oh, yes.
What happened with OMPO CAC? I thought I was the OMPO CAC representative.
Yeah, they had sent me a letter saying that we wasn't being represented at the meeting, that I needed to write down the person that was going to represent at the meeting. So when Rich resigned as chair, he's the alternate as a resident from the community, and then I chose Kobe to start representing the board.
Are you aware, Mr. Chair, that we have been represented?
Well, the thing is, I got the letter when I called them. That's what they clarified to me, that we wasn't being represented. Excuse me. So that's the reason why they asked me to resubmit a letter, and that's the reason why I did that.
I think that I would have liked to have been asked, given the fact that I go to the OMPO CAC meetings and sign in, and have seen Mr. Lynn there the last 2 months with Mr. Hargrave, and for the months leading up to that, did not see them. And so I'm a little confused about what this letter is, what action you've taken unilaterally and not with the board. And I would have liked to have been told maybe before I went to the last OMPO CAC meeting to represent us.
Okay, we can talk about this more after.
I actually would have been happy to have given a report tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, you know, as far as like our committee meetings and our committee chairs and so on, we have room enough for members or co-chairs or anybody who wants to participate in whatever fashion. And in this instance, I had heard that you had already like vacated your position.
I mean, that's absurd.
So,
this is absurd. This is like 8th grade music.
All I want to say
is a process to which I have assigned myself.
Wait a second, please.
This is just
Please don't interrupt me.
Go ahead.
All I'm saying is, the more people we have at UMPO, the better, you know, we're represented. So, if you want to continue or co-chair, I've been in committees and on committees and not been on the board. And so it's, you know, the more participation we have from our community, the better off we are.
Who is the voting CAC member then? Who's the voting CAC member, Mr. Chair? Can we get some clarification?
I asked if you want to dialogue with me.
I'm asking you because we're not past committee reports. And you didn't give me the chance to make a committee report.
Okay, just let everybody know we're finishing at 9:45, and I'm not going to continue this dialogue.
No dialogue. Point of order, Mr. Chair. What are you doing?
Who's our CAC voting?
Who's the CAC voting member next week? We have a CAC meeting, Mr. Chair. We don't talk about this in the hallway. We talk about this as a matter of business.
Thank you, Chair. I believe everybody here has a copy of my report, which I did pass out.
I'd like to mention that our Youth Challenge cadets visited the state capitol from Kailua, and there's a picture of them. I had an opportunity to speak with them, as well as we had some students from Keone Ula Elementary School, Eva Elementary School, and what has become an annual event, the Iroquois Point Elementary School band came and provided some entertainment for us in recognition of Military Appreciation Day and Military Appreciation Month. There is also a pie chart which shows how we dealt with the $2.1 billion shortfall. And you can see that 50% was dealt with via budget cuts, and tax revenues, which you probably have seen in the newspaper or news, amounted to only 10%. But this is the most, or this was the most difficult budget in my 10 years since I have been at the state capitol. And many people say this is probably the most difficult budget since statehood, because there has never been a time where we were looking at a $2 billion deficit. And you can see that the solutions included budget cuts, federal stimulus money, transfers of special funds to the general fund, the 10% tax increases, and credit adjustments, tax credits, and other tightening of loopholes and penalties. And hopefully the situation won't be as bad next session, although we are expecting a very difficult budget again, and it's just going to depend on the economy, as you all know. There is also attached to the report 2 items regarding testimony to the City Planning Commission. If anyone wants to provide testimony in reference to the Ray Kroc Community Center, which is going to be breaking ground in September of this year, as you may know, and also a 2,000 home development in Kunia, just above us on H1. And also there is a flyer from Hawaii Covering Kids, and people in the audience can go to coveringkids.com, and it's an opportunity for needy families to get free health insurance. So if there are children out there in need of health insurance, please look at this flyer or go to coveringkids.com. If I may briefly comment on, first of all, the online voting of the Neighborhood Commission. I was talking to some people in the city, and it looks like it's going to be a bust. There was very poor promotion and education and a publicity campaign. I used to run the neighborhood board elections. I would never just go all online. Thank goodness, as far as the EVA board, you're all on because there is no election. But I'm hearing that they might not even get a 10% return, and that's very, very bad. You should get a return of at least 25% to 35% with neighborhood board elections, and if they get 10% or less voting, it will be a big bust for the neighborhood commission, something that they have to look at, and whether they actually do it again next election, I think will be in jeopardy and will have to be discussed, not only between the neighborhood commission, but the city council and the mayor as well. Steve's question about 30,000 homes and traffic. I'd say the figure for the EVA plane, when you look at DHHL, DR Horton, Gentry finishing out, Haseko, is probably closer to 20,000 homes. And my guess is that 20,000 homes will take a minimum of 30-year build out, and it could even be 40-year build out, depending on how the economy goes. If you look at Gentry right now, Devil by Gentry, they have been developing that community for over 20 years, and they haven't even reached 10,000, and they're not close to 10,000. But as far as the traffic and the transportation issues, within the next 12 years, if all goes according to plans, the rail system will be up and running. And that will be from first phase, Kapolei, to Ala Moana Shopping Center. And my guess is, I'm hoping that the city and county will look at extending that, of course, into Kalailoa, possibly to Ko'olina, and then to UH Manoa, and I think they should even go to Kahalawang. But the rail project completed by 2018-2020 should play a significant role in our traffic problems. But a key to the success of the second city in West Oahu is also more jobs in this area. Ho'okili, for example, if built out, they're talking about 7,000 jobs. The new shopping center, which will begin construction next year, just west of the railroad station, they're looking at 3,000 to 4,000 jobs. UH West Oahu will have over 1,000 jobs. The Ewa Industrial Park, which will be around Honolulu Treatment Plant, we're talking 1,000 or 2,000 jobs. So there are opportunities, UH West Oahu, the Kroc Center, and we're hoping that many people will be able to get those jobs who live in West Oahu, thus alleviating the traffic flow problems on Fort Weaver Road. But the rail, I think, there's going to have to be some adjustments in people's attitude on how they drive, how they get around. But if we could get more jobs out here, and if you think about what might be happening with technology in the next 10 to 25 years, the possibility of people working more at home or having opportunities where you might have even business centers, regional business centers. So there are many things we're looking at. Hopefully it will get better. I believe when Fort Weaver Road is widened and when North-South Road is open by January, February of next year, you will see significant traffic relief in Ewa Beach. I believe that, and hopefully the proper planning, which is now why we talk about many of these developments like Ho'opili, which could be a 25, 30-year build-out. That's why we're planning now. Some people have criticized that development and many others, but these are houses for our children, our grandchildren, and the future population that comes here. Unfortunately, we're not able to say, stop, we don't want anyone else coming to Hawaii with immigration, with just our own population growing. We need to try to accommodate the working class.
Thank you, sir. Just to let you know, we're not going past 9:45.
Thank you, Chair.
Any questions from the board? Okay, start with Tom.
Did you sustain the governor's vetoes, or did you vote to override the governor's vetoes? Did you support raising the hotel room tax? Because I, as you know, I worked there, and the governor's administration came up with a budget that raised no taxes. There was actually a proposal that says we don't need to raise taxes this session. We can come up with this $2.3 billion shortfall. We can make the budget balanced. So I know State Representative Kim Pines sustained those vetoes, took the position on each and every one of those tax increases that it wasn't necessary. And it really comes down to sharing the pain. Question, would you support the government employees, HGA, the state workers, the unions, that they take a pay cut or furloughs to balance the budget as the governor had proposed, that we all share the pain internally with state workers, with the unions, as opposed to taxing all the people? So just quick clarity, how did you vote on the governor's overrides?
I did vote with the Democratic majority to override the vetoes. As I stated, there is a chart that shows how we dealt with the budget deficit. And if you wanted to look at the Republican mantra or the governor saying, trust me with the unions, see, our job in the legislature is to balance the budget. And the governor's job is to negotiate with the unions, at which point, at this time, she had no plan for us. We could not end session without a balanced budget with the governor saying, trust me. The last time she said, trust me, was with the super ferry, and look what happened there. So we had to look at the best way to deal with revenue generation. And the revenue generation which we chose was to have minimal effect on the working class and the low income. The only one measure that would affect residents of low income and the working class would be the cigarette tax. We did have a sin tax, raising the cigarette tax and the tobacco product tax. However, the rest of the tax revenue has to do with if you're making $150,000 or more as an individual, you will pay a higher tax. if you're earning $300,000 or more as a couple, you will pay a higher tax. If you're purchasing a second home, we raise the conveyance tax. Or if you're buying a property worth over $2 million, you will pay a higher conveyance tax. So we looked at areas that would not affect the working class and the lower class. And yes, we looked at the wealthier citizens of our state because many of us felt that those who have been successful in the past, those who have assets and are able to earn a significant income, that they share as well with us. Now, we also raised the TAT tax. What we raised was on a $200 average room, the price will go up $2 a day. $2 a day. That's the TAT tax.
Chair, I know we're going to adjourn at
Yes.
9:45, but could we extend it until 10, if possible? Because we have, a lot of the community was waiting for one.
Okay, is there any objections for that, board members? If not, I just want to let the legislators and to submit the report, highlight one or two things so the community can get their information in. And if no board members is against that, we're going to continue onto our agenda. And can you wrap that up, please, Senator?
I had a question. Thanks, Mr. Chair. Senator, what happened this session with that pay raise I kept reading about? Something about a 36% pay raise. Did our elected officials keep the 36% pay raise? I think $1,000 a month in these hard economic times. And number two, how many years does an elected official have to serve before they begin to receive benefits? What is it after 10 years that elected officials receive?
I have no idea. I have no plans on leaving anytime soon, Scott. So I have not looked up my pension for the future.
No one was asking you, Senator, if you had plans to leave. I was just asking, given that you're my state.
Well, that was my response to you. I'm not looking what I'm going to be earning, and I guess that's something I could do.
Is there a pension that elected officials earn after 10 years of service?
Yes.
There is one. Does it include health benefits?
I believe it is.
It's a paid pension plus.
At this time, I have almost 18 years of government service, by the way.
And so at the end of the pay raise, was that kept or not?
Regarding the pay raise was passed by the Salary Commission, as you may know, I believe in 2006 and 2007. We did not give ourselves a pay raise. It was the Salary Commission which gave a pay raise to the executive branch, which has already received their pay raise. They took their pay raise in 2008. And the judicial branch took their pay raise in 2008. The legislature delayed its pay raise to January of 2009. We did not take ours when the others did. And when you talk about the percentage, you say 36%. Our salary went from $36,000 a year, which I believe is very underpaid, to $48,000 a year.
Part-time or full-time?
I consider my job full-time.
Are you allowed to work a second job when you clock in?
Steve, question. Enough, Senator.
Yeah, we had the representative from the Board of Education come and talk to us about Governor Lingel's holding back money from the schools. And if you could you check into that for us and give us an account of that from your perspective? I'd like to know why we're not receiving money from the federal government as a state to help our schools in this needy time when other states are getting money from, I guess it's TARP, I don't know what it's called. But I'd like a clarification on that for the next time we meet.
As a matter of fact, Steve, I did send an email to Pat Hamamoto, who is the superintendent of the Department of Education, as you know, and Randy Moore, who is her facilities individual. And I asked exactly, please give me an update financially as well as time-wise when our 8 classroom building for James Campbell High School is going to go up, and when Eva Mackay Middle School is going to go up. Right now, there is a little issue between the DOE and Gentry Homes regarding Eva Mackay Middle School that could possibly delay it. It has to do with the drainage, and people are pointing fingers on why something wasn't done. I'm trying to resolve that right now. But yes, I'm hoping that possibly some federal stimulus money could come our way. That makes a lot of sense because these projects are more or less shovel-ready or will be very soon. So I will try to get some information for you as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kimberly.
No, not you, but you, Paul, because you really
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, Willie, going back to what Scott was asking. Okay, I understand you guys had an option to either take the raise or not. Okay, and you guys also had an option, didn't you guys have an option that they were going to cut back on some hourly people or some union people at that time as well? I just feel like, Willie.
What is the question, please?
The question is, did you have an option?
We had an option in 2009 not to accept the raises. As a state legislature, the body would have to vote, all 76 measures, 76 members. And no vote was taken not to accept the raise. This session, we did take a 5% pay cut on our raises along with the legislative and the judicial branch.
How could we do 5 and not the whole 36 then?
The figure that was chosen by the state legislature, it's not one person or 2 people, it's a group of individuals deciding, and the 5% was the figure that came up. We did not look at union pay. That is something that the governor is working on.
Sorry, sir, I don't mean to cut you off. If they want to know a little bit more in depth, tell them to call your office and they can talk to you outside. And then we can get a report on that.
I do have another one. Okay. With your raise, yes, Senator?
Yes.
I mean, don't waste our taxpayers' money and try to go and push a bill that has no benefit to us tax-paying people. Like the bill you're trying to push last month, and having the prisoners vote. That's kind of asinine. I mean, don't try to push something that is not going to benefit the taxpayer, the people that pay taxes.
Just let me tell you this one thing. When that bill was heard at the state capitol, may I? Majority.
Go ahead, because I can bring up some history about that.
Well, I think you and I should just sit down and talk about it, but the majority of the people... The majority of the people
Tom, you have a report? Tom? Thank you, Senator.
Yes.
Thank you.
Is he? No, they're not here. The only person that is here is you. And then we're going to go into the give you a report.
Well, answer the question.
Thank you, Senator. Go ahead, Tom.
No, I want to talk to you in public.
No. Talk to you. Go ahead, Tom.
Chair, with your indulgence, State Representative Kimberly Pine stands on her report. It's been handed out. It's available if you'd like to convey any questions. You know how to get hold of me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Department of Hawaii Homeland. You guys don't mind out of order.
Thank you, Chair. I'll make it quick. A couple of announcements we have on our developments. Our East Kapolei 1 development, we have a total of 403 lots being developed. 201 lots will be developed by Gentry Homes for us. Of those, they started construction in February, and we'll have our first move-in tomorrow. Phase 1 of the project will be completed in December. That's about 111 homes. Phase 2, another 90 homes, be completed in June of next year. On our East Kapolei 2 project, our portion of the East-West Road, we are still hung up. We did go out to bid, but hung up by legal problems over bid protests. We're still trying to work that out. The pesticide mixing plant within East Kapolei 2, we came to you late last year, saying that we were going in for an EPA grant application. We're happy to see that we did get the grant, $200,000, and along with that, a EPA brownfield loan of almost $2 million. So we're moving ahead with that. One question came up was whether that site qualified as a candidate for the National Historic Register. We did do a Chapter 106 consultation, and they turned it over to the State Historic Preservation for their review and comments. We're waiting to hear back from them. Because of time constraint on both the loan and the EPA grant, we're moving ahead anyway with our planning of the cleanup. And if Shoko happens to come back and tell us stop, then we will. But because we have to spend the money in a certain time frame, we are moving ahead. And when we do come up with a cleanup plan, we will have to come out to public, so we'll be coming back to you with that. With that, that's what I'll have this time. We'll come back with a longer report next time.
Chair, quick observation. Guess what, gang? When the Fort Weaver Road widening project design was delayed 2 years, and now we have the East West Connected Road delayed because of a bidding dispute, right? We as a board can offer our legislative body or the governor a solution. And since we have witnessed this time and time again here in this community, these delays on transportation projects, we can do something proactive. We can ask that the executive branch, whoever the governor may be, that because we're in a transportation crisis, use executive powers to move forward these bids as it was awarded. If there's to be a challenge, such as what's being litigated now on this, that's delaying the project, that could be settled in court. Let the person who's making a complaint to get punitive damage and be awarded that way. That way we as a community don't lose out on any time. So we can take this example after example of delay, put it on the agenda next month, whatever have you. I'd love to, as your legislative committee chair, advance something so that we can do something proactive in the future, because there's going to be more projects delayed, guaranteed. We should give our executive branch the power to move that East-West Connector Road through DHHL property ASAP. Let them figure out what's going on in court. Build the road.
Okay, good comment. Anyone else?
The shopping center that's going to be built on Hawaii. I'm sorry. First of all, your name?
I'm sorry, I'm Darrell Ing. I'm the Land Development Project Manager for Oahu.
Darling, okay, thank you. What about the shopping center on Hawaiian Homelands? Do they need a permit or they don't need a permit? For what I was told, because it's Hawaiian Homelands, you don't need a permit. Also, for what I was told, that in order for you to have a business on Hawaiian Homelands, you need to be Hawaiian. Now, who's sponsoring this Hawaiian Homelands to these people that's building the shopping center? And who's going to benefit? Is it the Hawaiian people for Hawaiian Homelands? Or, who's going to benefit from all of this?
Okay, I apologize because I'm not involved with that project directly. I'm project manager for residential projects.
Only residential?
Our land management division handles the commercial industrial projects. That's Linda Chin. I think you mentioned you talked to her before.
Who?
Linda Chin.
Oh my God, yes.
Okay. Where's
Well, just to answer Celeste's question.
Can you come to the mic, please,
Just to answer Celeste's questions, the beneficiaries of the DHHL shopping center will be the beneficiaries for Hawaiian Homelands. The shopping center is intended to provide a long-term revenue stream to put money into the Hawaiian Homelands accounts. That is the primary purpose, generating revenue for the Hawaiians.
Okay. Maybe we can talk about this later because I do have some questions about neighbor islands, Hawaiian Homelands. All Hawaiian Homelands are supposed to be tied in together. Now there is some questions about neighbor islands, Hawaiian Homelands that I need to talk about.
Okay.
With this thing.
Thank you. Sure. All right. Thank you. All right. Right now, D. Horton? D. Harvard.
It's late. I'm Dean Lucida with D.R. Horton Schuler Homes. Nothing more to report. I think the neighborhood boards are aware of the fact that we are before the Land Use Commission right now. There's a hearing tomorrow, and they have broken up our hearing over a course of several months now. So I think right now, tentatively, we're scheduled to end the hearing part in July, and then there's going to go into deliberations, and then a final decision will be made by the end of the year, hopefully, by the Land Use Commission. We are also working with the city on the transit projects, the 3 East Kapolei transit stations. And this is where it gets kind of confusing because we've been working with DPP, Department of Planning and Permitting, on the TOD neighborhood plan process, which is what Waipahu went through in developing the area, quarter-mile radius around each of the transit stations. So we're pretty far along in that process. And then recently, in fact, a couple nights ago at the Kapolei High School, the Department of Transportation Services, Rapid Transit Division, RTD, started the East Kapolei Transit Station workshops. And what they're doing is looking at and getting community input on the design of the actual station themselves. So it seems kind of confusing because they're talking about the same stations, the East Kapolei stations, but 2 different agencies in the city are doing kind of 2 different things in parallel tracks. And what we're trying to do is make sure that people understand that there is a difference, but hopefully at the end of the day it'll all come together and then come into a very nice transit station. So we are participating in those 2 efforts and trying to keep the community informed about what's going on. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Are you going to make a full presentation before the board? Tomorrow we're going to go and ask a request for a delay from the Ever Beach people. Are you prepared to give us a full presentation?
I think we've done a presentation on a project a couple of years ago.
No, you didn't.
Yes, we did. To this neighborhood board, Waipahu.
Come on, Dean.
All right, nothing else. Thank you guys for coming. And
Can we
go ahead.
Dean, you wouldn't have any trouble in the coming months being on the agenda, make like an update on the whole report, would you?
No.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Okay, meeting adjourned.